Hello and welcome to another episode of Smart ER. A little different video today. I thought I'd do something not relating to servicing, maintenance, replacing. I wonder if some people look at this and they look at the channel and they think, shall I get one? Can I do some of the repairs myself? So this is for the people who may be looking to buy a Smart for 2 Coupe, or maybe some that have just started and thought, oh my god, what have I let myself in for? Or maybe just are curious to see if they're having similar issues or enjoyment that I'm having. So a little bit of an intro as to why we got the car. My eldest daughter, who was then 18 4 years ago, she just passed a test. She had an automatic license. She wanted something a little bit different. It had to be frugal, it had to be insurance friendly, so we sort of narrowed it down to only a couple of vehicles. There was one in a local independent dealer. We went to have a look at it. It seemed pretty nice, very shiny. On the inside it gave us a lot of confidence in how much space it was, so we took it for a test drive and it was great. Yeah, it was really fun, it was nippy, it was everything that we know these cars are. I did my research, had a look at the costs involved for running, tax, insurance. Again, really cheap. So another tick in the box. I had a little look online. I always use a couple of websites. One particular one is one called honestjohn.co.uk. Had a look at some of the reviews. They weren't that bad. And we decided to go for it. And we bought the car. It had about 12 or 14,000 miles on the clock when we first had it. And it's been a very, very, very faithful workhorse for the family. It's not the only car we have. Over the last 4 years, we tend to change our main cars every couple of years. So the Smart car, it shares the stable, which is effectively a garage and a drive. It shares the stable with currently an Audi A1, which is due to be changed, and a Volkswagen Polo TSI, which is like a turbo sport injection, both automatics. So it's quite different to the ones that we normally drive, but again, it is automatic, and it's proved itself quite a faithful piece of kit, and I really love it. I'm not going to get rid of it now. I'm just going to keep it until the day we have to send it off to the crusher. So when Sophie, my eldest daughter, took the car, we had some expectations. We were expecting little car park dinks. We were expecting maybe the odd bump here or there. Nothing too dramatic, you know, the sort of supermarket trolley bumps that you have now and again. And we also expected it to be quite frugal. We weren't anticipating any problems in terms of mechanical breakdowns because it was such a low mileage and it had only had one owner before. Sophie wanted it basically just to be able to be cheap to run so that she didn't have to dig too deep into her pocket, being her first proper full-time job, and didn't want to invest all her salary into the running and maintaining of a car. Expectations on the quality of the vehicle, I didn't have a lot, to be honest. I thought small car, small engine, was doing around about, I would say a round trip about 18 miles a day. Stop-start traffic, and if you've done any research or had vehicles that are automatics for a while, you tend to have a bit of a dubious expectation of the longevity of automatic gearboxes, particularly in small cars. It's rare that you see small cars that are automatic that are around at high mileages. So I was anticipating her having this for maybe around about a year and a half, and getting, you know, a fair decent bit of use out of it, but I was expecting the gearbox to fail and just to be rubbish, to be honest with you. But I was wrong. We'll skip along to 18 months later. Now, Sophie had enjoyed the car. She really likes it, and it served her well. It done everything we expected. there was no engine breakdowns, there was no big bangs. She had a little bit of a rear tap from sort of a small truck, a small van that had hit her, and it had a small puncture in the rear bumper of the smart car, which is still there to this day, which one day I'll get around to doing a video and replacing the centre panel. You can hardly notice it, but we know it's there. She really loved it, but she found it wanting in a few areas, and a couple of her friends now in the big wide open world, they had cars with satellite navigation built in, they had hands-free telephones built in, they had the ability to play their music through their phones or through an MP4 or a USB, or whether it's an SD card. She'd done really well in work, she'd had a promotion, and she wanted to get a newer car. But hey presto, surprise, surprise, she liked the smart car we had now so much, she went and bought another one. She just wanted a different colour. She wanted one with all the bells and whistles on. So we decided to go and have a look for something, again, low miles, as young as she could afford in terms of the years of manufacturer. And we went for something about 3 years younger again, so it was almost new. And this one had about 9,000 miles, but it was a diesel version. And this one claimed to do about 90 miles to the gallon. It felt a little bit more punchy. It had I believe, a nicer colour. It was all red, but the sort of the stripe that goes down the side was black. Still had a full panoramic sunroof, but the inside was different. So the inside was where all the upgrades had taken place, and it had the turbo boost and the clock gauge that you have on the dashboard, on the little pods, and it also had a top of the range then audio system. So you press a button and the screen would flip up and pop out. You could pop a CD in, you could pop an SD card in. It also had satellite navigation built into it. It also had the telephone function hands-free, so you could connect your phone to it via Bluetooth. So all the bells and whistles she wanted. A younger car, even more frugal, prettier colour. So we said hello to Smarty number 2. But I was reluctant at the time to get rid of Smarty 1, which was the black one, being that I wanted a car just for commuting, the ever-increasing price of fuel. So we kept it, and we started to do bits and pieces to it as they came up, rather than take them to a garage, and start to do things on video for things like the Smart ER channel, which is where it was born. So talking about the YouTube channel, Smart ER, there's a link to the Facebook page that I also created in the comment section below. That came about when one day I took it to my local sort of independent parts place. It's a national chain called Halfords here in the UK, and I wanted just a headlamp bulb, a headlamp bulb, the one that you normally change, the one which always goes in winter when it gets cold. So when I went there, it was something silly like £14 for the lamp, the bulb itself, and they asked me would I like it fitted. And I said, no, it's okay, I've got an engineering background, I'll do it myself. And they said, oh, right, well, because it's only £7.95, so that's probably around about $10 in today's money. And me, always trying to save a penny and look after the pounds, I said, no, thanks very much. I took my bulb and away I went. It was at that point I realised that it was going to be something that I would go for day in, day out, to be able to save money with this car. So this was something I could share with everyone. And that's where it came from. I did it. I looked online. The videos I saw online, I had to look at about 3 or 4 different ones to try and make it understandable, because they would cut to this is the bulb and this is how you put it in, but they wouldn't show you how you get into the actual service bay. They wouldn't show you what you needed to do to get the bulb out and disconnect it. They would just go, you just put it in like this and that's it, done. So I decided to compile a video and make it as easy as possible for people to see quite up close, get a lot of details so you could pause it, go back to it. And that pretty much led to my thought of, well, let's see if I can do this for anything that arises as and when. And that's what's happened. I did a little, I tried to do a bit of a Top Gear review on the car, with a mobile phone dangling from the window. It sort of worked, but the audio is rubbish, and I've just honed my skills. And I've also taken on a few other YouTube channels as well along the way, which I'll pop into the comment section below, using drones and some just general things really. So owning Smarty is really given me a love and taking me on to other things to expand my my enjoyment in life and all things technical. What's gone well, what's not gone so well? So the good things. Again, fuel economy, great. Cost of parts from independent motor factors, really cheap. The flexibility with this thing is really great. The rear section of the car, where you can take the collapsible and the restowable bulkhead, rear bulkhead, or luggage cover, I suppose, if you want to call it one of those things. You literally just take that out or put it down into its lowest setting, fold the front seat forward. I regularly take this car to the tip, or a rubbish depot for people who are not in the UK. I regularly take the Husky out in this. There's some older videos showing how he gets into the back. Plenty of room when you got the front seat down. I cut a little carpet out and put it over the rear seat so it doesn't damage the cover. I find it really flexible. I've done a couple of, well, what I would say here in the UK, fairly long runs in it. I've gone to Heathrow Airport and back a couple of times, which is around about a 240-mile round trip, which is not bad. It does drone a little bit, but it was very doable, and it cost virtually nothing. If you're like £20, whereas if I go in the Audi or the Polo, the Volkswagen Polo, we're looking about £45, maybe £50 sometimes. So it's frugal. They're really, really good. The build quality, fantastic. Nothing's dropped off. Everything is still there, and remarkably, no creaks or squeaks. For something that small, I would expect maybe the plastics to squeak and creak. What else? The radio is really good quality as well. It picks up all the stations, the CD, the sound. There's no distortion from the speakers. It's really easy to park. It's just been everything I wanted and more, and in the main, very, very reliable. Now on to the not so good points. So I suppose let's go for the main one. The main bad point is, and I've purposefully left this till last and not include it in my videos, but it does have a twist. The bad point has been around about 4 or 5 months into owning the car when we first had it, and it was only had a 3 months warranty from the independent dealer. Surprise, surprise. After about 4 months, the car would intermittently only want to go into reverse. You would start it up in the morning, reverse it off the drive to work, maybe try and shuffle it into a car park, and you'd put it into reverse, and literally an N word would come up, an N letter would come up on the dashboard, and it would flash. Or the R letter for reverse would come up, and it would just flash. It just wouldn't go, no matter whether you stamped on the brake, whether you rocked it back and forth, put it into forward manual, and drove forward a bit. No matter what you did, it wouldn't work. It quickly became apparent after some YouTube searching that it was a sort of a problem with a number of vehicles. I'd done my investigation. I found a couple of solutions that I thought they were solutions. One of them worked for a little while, and it said to replace the stop brake light switch. So I got a mobile mechanic to do that. It was a bit out of my depth, and I didn't really want to get underneath the car. And he repaired it, and that worked well for a week. It would go into reverse whenever I wanted to, but then it just reverted back to not going into reverse. I took it to an independent smart dealer. They did a software update, because some people suggested it was that. That didn't work. And then I had a look at some other videos, and I did some oil changes. They said that would work. It didn't work. So you know what? We just lived with it. And as Sophie has said, when she went and bought the red diesel car, she actually gave up on it. The red diesel car though had been great. It hadn't lost a fault, and she put about 10-15,000 miles on that before she changed over the car again. So it seemed like I was stuck with it. So it just meant I was having to be a little bit more, using a bit more foresight. So wherever I was driving to, just be mindful, I'm driving into a parking space, and until it's cooled down, I'm not going to be able to reverse out or find somewhere where it had a good turning circle. It doesn't need much of a turning circle with this car, but it was always on your mind. And if you did need to reverse, it's not heavy. You literally open the door, stick your foot out and push yourself backwards. And I've done that many a time to some embarrassment, I can say. Other bad things, well, nothing really. It's apart from that one thing, it's been quite super reliable. Just the normal wear and tear things like tyres, light bulbs, wipers, all the things you've seen on the YouTube how-tos that I've done here on Smart ER. So super reliable. Well, in conclusion, would I have another? It's a good question. I don't think I would go out of my way and seek one. This one we're going to keep, as I've already mentioned, until it actually dies a death, becomes uneconomical to repair. But there is no sign of that, and there is a twist. I'll explain in another soon-to-come video, but Smarty now actually goes into reverse at any time I wish. It's quite a weird one. It came up as a result of one of my videos that I did about the rear brake shoes needing replacing, but it now goes into reverse at my will. So would I have another one? If I was back in the same position as I was 4 years ago, yes, I would have another one. I'd probably be a little bit more wary of the warranty, and I would ask for a longer one, maybe 6 months to a year, or maybe pay for the difference. But it's done everything I wanted to and more. It's been super flexible, super reliable. Not so sure about the new version though. I think it's lost some of its character. They also do it in a manual version now, which I think that's one of the benefits of having this little smart car. Being automatic, it's quite a lazy car to nip in and around town in. We have speed bumps here in the UK, just the local authorities, local governments stick sort of lumps in the middle of the road to try and slow people down from speeding, and it does crash over those bumps a little bit. So overall, no, I don't think I would have another one again. I definitely wouldn't have the new one again, but it's not because it's a bad car. I think pound for pound, in terms of monetary value, it's been well worth the money that we paid for it, and keeping the maintenance as I have done, just engine oil changes very regularly, oil filter changes regularly, and doing all the little bits and pieces as they arise. I think this car is going to last at least another 5, 8, maybe even 10 years without any problems. Well, I hope everyone has found that of some use, and you've gotten some information from that you can help you make a decision if you're going to buy a smart car. I hope it's helped you be aware of certain things when and if, or I hope it doesn't, the gearbox starts to play up. But keep an eye on the Smart ER channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, because I'm always putting new things on there now, and I'm investing a lot more time into it. Videos coming up soon are how to take the front end, so all the front panels off of the smart car. I'll then do one on how I actually got the reversing issue with the gearbox fixed, and then I'll do another one about removing all the other panels off the vehicle. So if you fancy doing a colour change to your car, or if you've had an accident, how do you replace it? Thanks very much for your patience. Sorry it's such a long video. A lot of information in there, but very worthwhile if you're going to buy one. And all the very best, and I think it's time for a cup of tea. All the best. Bye-bye now.